that is not following the evidence, that is leading the evidence. And when you follow that up with, can you come up with a better explanation, you have just committed one of the most painfully obvious logical fallacies of all time. It's an argument from ignorance, that because somebody doesn't have another explanation, therefore yours is viable. And I'm sorry, that's just not the way reality works.
Yeah, you still have to prove that the God actually came down and did that burning.
So even if it's from a biblical account, that's not good enough, right?
Correct.
Correct.
And you already know this, because do you accept the accounts of what happens in other religious books? Do you accept, you know, claims about the Prophet Muhammad? Do you accept, you know, the birth of Buddha? Do you accept any of those claims, the miracle claims from other competing religions around the world? They have no better or worse evidence than what you have for yours.
I mean, if that's what you want to believe, because we've gotten into age.
It's not.
No, hold
okay.
on.
No, you hold on. This is not about what you want to believe. What you want to believe, as I've been trying to explain, is completely irrelevant. What I'd like to believe is true is completely irrelevant to what's actually true. And the difference between you and us is that we care whether our beliefs are true, and you care whether or not what you believe is what you want to believe.
Okay, here's the thing.
We really should move on.
Yeah, we're going to move on after this, so get your last shots in.
Okay, all right. My last point about it is that, you know, early on you said in the show that it's not right to violate someone for their rights. And, you know, I realized today that evolution has its sway. I'm in college right now. And evolution has its sway in basically almost every science there is. And, you know, it seems unfair that creation has such a hard time finding its way. Creationism has such a hard time finding its way.
You know, astronomy's in all those schools too. Is it unfair that astrology doesn't have its way finding its way into the classroom? Is that unfair? Is it unfair that we have a bias toward truth? Is it unfair that we have a bias toward things that are scientifically demonstrable? Is it unfair that we discriminate against batshit crazy ideas that happen to be popular with somebody?
And Stephan, thanks very much for perverting the intent of something I said earlier in the show. I did talk about how you know, a group that has internal behavioral rules should not expect that it has a right to impose those on people outside its group. But I was not talking about what they teach in college. You have a right. In order to properly apply what I said, you need to know what your rights actually are. You have a right to your beliefs. You have a right to your own beliefs. You do not have a right to your own facts. The facts are whatever it is can actually be verified in the real world. Okay, that's what the facts are. If you're finding evolution at every turn in college, it's because that's what the facts support. You have a right not to believe it, but you don't have a right to claim that just because something is written in your religion's holy book, that is magically a fact.
Okay, so, I mean, as I said earlier, gentry is just a small number.
Yeah, one.
Those scientists who has supported it with his scientific evidence. And if they're, you know, throughout time, we do have other scientists who keep studying and coming up with other things. And therefore, if they can present this.
Yes. The day that they present sufficient evidence for their claims, that's the day that they get taught in schools. That's the day that they are then justified you would be justified in believing them.
Right.
You believe them before then, you're just guessing.
Won't you listen to reason? Well,